In this demo, we'll explore how TestArchitect integrates with Microsoft Azure DevOps, helps teams streamline test management, automation creation, execution, and reporting, improves traceability, and ensures your test assets and results stay fully synchronized. With TestArchitect and Azure DevOps integration, you can upload and sync test cases and test modules, map TestArchitect assets to existing ADO test cases, execute tests directly from TestArchitect or from Azure DevOps, automatically publish test results, or upload them manually when needed. Now, let's walk through each of these capabilities step by step. We begin in TestArchitect. Here we have a folder called Demo, which contains 2 test modules. At this point, you'll notice that these modules don't yet have any values in their source fields, meaning they are not linked to any test cases in Azure DevOps. Now, let's switch over to Azure DevOps. In ADO, under Test Plans, you'll see that there is currently no folder called Demo Tests, so right now there's no connection between the 2 systems. Back in TestArchitect, we simply right-click on the Demo Tests folder, navigate to External Tool arrow Azure DevOps Services arrow Upload to Azure DevOps Services. A dialog appears, allowing us to choose exactly where in Azure DevOps we want to upload these tests. This gives you full control over how your test structure is organized in ADO. Once we confirm and click OK, the upload begins. Now, if we go back to Azure DevOps, we can see that the Demo Tests folder has been created, and the test cases are now available there. Azure DevOps automatically generates test case IDs. Those IDs are instantly synchronized back into TestArchitect, and they're stored in the source field of each test case or module. This means you now have a direct link between both systems, without any manual mapping. In some scenarios, your test cases may already exist in Azure DevOps. In that case, instead of uploading new ones, you can map TestArchitect tests to existing ADO test cases. Here's how it works. First, identify the test case ID in Azure DevOps. Then, in TestArchitect, simply enter that ID into the source field of the corresponding test module. Click Apply, and the mapping is complete. This flexibility allows you to integrate TestArchitect into existing ADO workflows without disrupting your current test structure. To map existing test case in TestArchitect to an existing test case in ADO, repeat the same steps. Now let's move on to executing tests from TestArchitect with automatic result upload. One of the key advantages of this integration is the ability to run tests in TestArchitect and automatically push results to Azure DevOps. Here we're going to execute a login validation test. Before starting the run, we enable the option to automatically upload test results to Azure DevOps. You also have control over how results are stored, as an HTML report, as a compressed file, or automatically compressed if the file exceeds a defined size threshold. This ensures efficient storage and easy sharing of results. Now, let's run the test. As the test executes, TestArchitect handles everything behind the scenes, capturing results, logs, and execution details. Once the run is complete, the results are automatically uploaded to Azure DevOps. Let's take a look. In ADO, under the Test Runs section, we can see the newly created test run. The status is updated immediately, and all execution details, including step-by-step results, are available. This gives your team real-time visibility into test outcomes without needing to switch tools or manually upload reports. In addition to automatic uploads, TestArchitect also supports manual result uploads. This is especially useful when you've executed tests earlier and want to publish results later, or when you want more control over when and where results are uploaded. To do this, simply select an existing test result in TestArchitect. Then choose the destination folder in Azure DevOps where you want the result to be uploaded. With just a few clicks, the test result is published and linked to the appropriate test case in ADO. Now let's look at the flow, executing tests directly from Azure DevOps. In ADO, navigate to Test Plans. Select the test suite and the test case you want to run. Click the three-dot menu, choose Run, and then select Run with Options. From here, configure the execution settings. Select automated tests using release stage as the test type. choose the build you want to run the test against, and select the appropriate release pipeline and stage. Once configured, start the run. Here's what happens behind the scenes. Azure DevOps triggers the pipeline, which identifies the associated test in TestArchitect based on the mapping we established earlier. TestArchitect then executes the test and sends the results back to Azure DevOps. Once execution is complete, you can return to test plans arrow runs in ADO. There, you'll see a full run summary, number of passed and failed tests, execution duration, and detailed step-level results. Everything is centralized in ADO, while TestArchitect handles the execution logic. As you've seen, the integration between TestArchitect and Azure DevOps provides a seamless bidirectional workflow. You can sync and manage test cases effortlessly, execute tests from either platform, and ensure all results are automatically tracked and reported. This not only reduces manual effort, but also improves collaboration, visibility, and overall testing efficiency. Whether your team prefers working in TestArchitect, Azure DevOps, or both, you get the flexibility to choose without losing consistency or control.